No CP, counterattack texts are prevalent, and ancient sadistic texts have once again emerged, making the female lead the unlucky one. In the sadistic text, the female protagonist is tortured by the male protagonist's heart and lungs, and after several deaths, she still needs to forgive the male protagonist. In the counterattack article, the female protagonist is counterattacked by the female supporting character, by cannon fodder, and by passersby armor. But one day, the female lead was exposed to the later plot, and everything was rewritten accordingly. Small World Female Heroes Rebirth of Female Supporting Role grabs male lead and female lead to dominate the world. Little World 2. The White Lotus of the Apocalypse has gone crazy. The White Lotus female lead can also dominate and leak on the side. Small World Interstellar Scholar. The sadistic female protagonist refuses to leave the plot. Small World Qian Jean pouts up. The love brain female lead emptied her head of water. Keywords of the novel. Quickly wearing. When the female protagonist of the cannon fodder is exposed by the spoilers without a pop-up window, quickly wearing. When the female protagonist of the cannon fodder is exposed by the spoilers. Download the full text. Quickly wearing. When the female protagonist of the cannon fodder is exposed by the spoilers, read the latest chapters. Chapter 1. Women and Heroes 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Women and Heroes 1. The new wind heaps heavy clouds, a night of wind and snow came. Filming the world one after another, heaven and earth are both pure and white. A heavy snowfall made the already cold winter even more freezing, covering everything, and there was no color difference between heaven and earth. A dozen or so ragged people stumbled on the snow. 7 or 8-year-old children followed their mother, stumbling and stumbling. The mother, who tightly held on to the child's hand, suddenly excitedly pointed to the front and said to the child, "Child, please hold on a little longer. Look ahead, 7 Rose Village has arrived. We are saved." The young child followed his mother's fingers and saw a black wall appearing in a pure white world. The wall is very high, with a tall pavilion covering the corner, and it seems that someone is walking on it. The young child thought in confusion, this city wall seems like the one he saw when he and his father went to the county town to play. Isn't Chipai Village a village? The young child's little head cannot think too much, he only knows one thing. His mother once said that as long as he reaches Chipai Village, he cannot die and can still have enough to eat. Suddenly, the young child's body was picked up by his mother, and the already weak mother suddenly gained strength and ran towards the direction of the wall, stumbling with him. Fortunately, not long after running, the door to the high wall was opened, and someone came out and brought them, the refugees, in. As soon as a dozen refugees entered the city wall of Chipai Village, they were shoved into a bowl of hot congee. The person who served them congee smiled mildly. After a hard journey, drink a bowl of congee to warm up. You will never starve to death when you arrive in Chipai Village. The refugees were holding hot congee with tears in their eyes. They couldn't wait to drink it, and even when it was scalded, they were reluctant to spit it out. After drinking congee, these refugees had the heart to look at the situation in the village, and then they were shocked. Is this really a village? The houses are neatly arranged, the walls are brand new, the streets are wide, clean and refreshing without snow. On the flat ground, there is no visible fecal waste everywhere, even the county town is not so clean and tidy. A refugee asked the villagers of Chipai Village incredulously, "Can we really stay?" The villagers of Chipai Village, who received us, smiled proudly and said, "Of course, our village chief is very capable. She not only has the ability to make us eat well, but also is kind." The village chief sympathizes with the people's suffering, and anyone who escapes to our 7 Rose Village can stay. The refugees were incredulous and asked the village chief who he was. They wanted to go and thank the village chief. The villager held his head high and boasted, "Zhao Yanhuan, the village chief of Chipai Village, is the most powerful, wise, and kind-hearted girl in the world." Zhao Yanhuan, praised as the wisest and most benevolent, was sitting in the main hall of his mansion, sipping tea calmly. In front of her, there was a middle-aged man bound in all sorts of ways, curled up on the ground, groaning in pain. Next to the middle-aged man stood 3 towering and fierce-looking burly men. These 3 are the staunch supporters of Zhao Yanhuan, the 3 brothers of the Luan family, the eldest Luan Hu, the second Luan Xiong, and the third Luan Bao. Zhao Yanhuan put down the teacup in her hand and looked at the middle-aged man lying on the ground, speaking calmly. Kai Laoyao, as long as you agree to take a walk from Tiger Jumping Mountain, I will spare you the crime of raping and killing girls in my village. The middle-aged man raised his head and let out a curse at Zhao Yanhuan. His eyes turned red and he gritted his teeth, saying, "You think I'm foolish? There are bandits on Tiger Jumping Mountain, fierce and ruthless. No one who has passed by can leave alive. You want me to take a trip from Tiger Jumping Mountain, don't you just want me to die? Do I look foolish? Give up, I won't go to Tiger Jumping Mountain." Luan Hu, standing beside him, couldn't help but kick Kai Laoyao and scold him on the head, "Clean your mouth for me. You don't want to go to Tiger Jumping Mountain to die. Believe it or not, I want you to die today." Zhao Yanhuan stood up and waved his hand at Luan Hu. Luan Hu immediately withdrew the foot that had stepped on Kai Laoyao's head and took a step back. Zhao Yanhuan walked slowly to Kai Laoyao and looked down at her, not in a hurry. She gently analyzed him. "Kai Laoyao, you know the rules of my 7 Rose village. Rape and plunder are unforgivable capital offenses. If you even kill someone, you must be 9 dead and have no life. If you don't agree, I will punish you with the cruelest punishment. How much punishment have you just received now? It's not a good feeling, right? When I really take it seriously, you will have to live, not die. Instead of suffering from torture and dying in my hands, why don't you take a trip to Tiger Jumping Mountain? Although there is only one way, if you venture into the forest, there may still be a glimmer of vitality." Zhao Yanhuan looked at Kai Laoyao, whose expression had loosened as she spoke, with a tone that added more temptation. "How about it? Are you waiting for death with me, or are you going to Tiger Jumping Mountain to take a lifelong journey? You can choose for yourself." Kai Laoyao gritted his teeth, knowing that Zhao Yanhuan's request for him to go to Tiger Jumping Mountain was not a kind intention to let him have a way out. But as Zhao Yanhuan said, Tiger Leaping Mountain is so big, and everywhere is a wild jungle. He hides in the river, but if he drips water, he may not be discovered by the bandits. If he fights hard, he may live, but if he doesn't go, he will definitely die. After weighing the pros and cons, Kai Laoyao reluctantly said, "I promise to go Tiger Jumping Mountain." Zhao Yanhuan's face showed a satisfied smile and praised him, saying, "The choice of a wise person." Looking up at Luan Hu and Luan Xiong, "You too, take him down and prepare for it." Luan Hu grabbed Kai Laoyao's collar with a big hand and dragged him out, while Luan Xiong followed behind Luan Hu. Luan Bao did not walk with Luan Hu and Luan Xiong, but changed into a rather shabby outfit, held a kitchen knife, and left directly. On the other side, Luan Hu and Luan Xiong changed Kai Laoyao's clothes and led a cart filled with several bags of grain, pressing Kai Laoyao all the way to Tiger Jumping Mountain. Tiger Leaping Mountain is more than 30 miles away from Chipai village, with steep peaks and only one road to pass through. In recent years, there have been few people walking due to a group of very powerful bandits in the mountain. Luan Hu and Luan Xiong did not rush Kai Laoyao into Huqiao Mountain, but stopped a few hundred meters away from Huqiao Mountain. The two of them stood not far away, holding bows and arrows in their hands. They drew their bows from left to right, and the arrows shining with cold light aimed at Kai Laoyao. Luan Hu spoke coldly, "Kai Laoyao, you also lived in Chipai village for a period of time. You know how accurate our brothers are in archery. If you don't want to die under our arrows, let's enter Tiger Jumping Mountain now." Luan Xiong also threatened, "You'd better not try to escape. Our brotherhood will keep an eye on you until you enter Tiger Jumping Mountain." End of this chapter. 2, Chapter 2 Women and Heroes 2. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 2 Women and Heroes 2. Along the way, Kai Laoyao always wanted to escape unexpectedly, but the two brothers, Wan Hu and Wan Xiong, kept a close eye and never found a chance. Now it's Tiger Jumping Mountain, and Kai Laoyao has also accepted his fate. What if he points an arrow at it? Once he reaches a far enough position, he will immediately flee. So Kai Laoyao didn't resist at all, just whipped the cow's back and drove it into the mountain. Just as Kai Laoyao was pondering where to escape and the ox cart had not yet entered Tiger Leaping Mountain, one leopard, dressed in rags and holding a kitchen knife, rushed out from the bushes on the nearby road. Before Kai Laoyao could react to the sudden appearance of Wan Bao had already rushed onto the ox cart and cut off Kai Laoyao's head with a knife. Kai Laoyao's eyes were wide open, with a surprised expression on his face. He didn't even have time to panic, and his head had already rolled down. The head fell to the ground, and blood spurted out from the neck. The entire cart, including the Luan leopard by the cart, was sprayed with blood. Luan Bao wiped the blood off his face, picked up the head of Kai Laoyao that had fallen on the ox cart, and kicked Kai Laoyao's body onto the roadside. Turn around and gaze at Wan Hu Wan Xiong, then turn around and pull the ox cart into Tiger Jumping Mountain. He held the ox cart with one hand and raised Kai Laoyao's head high with the other. As I walked, I shouted loudly, "I want to join the Tiger Jumping Stronghold. Now I'm giving you a head as a token of my determination." Tiger Jumping Village is a mountain stronghold composed entirely of middle-aged bandits. There are no elderly or young people left in the village, and anyone who wants to join the village must have killed them before they can join. At first, Zhao Yanhuan originally wanted to go somewhere else and catch a notorious villain to be the knocking brick for Luan Bao to join the Tiger Leaping Stronghold. Who knew that before Zhao Yanhuan could find someone, Kai Laoyao, a beast who raped and killed girls, would emerge from Chipai village. Zhao Yanhuan simply let Kai Laoyao be the knocking brick. Luan Bao shouted and walked forward, then started climbing up the mountain. The head in his hand changed hands, but he kept holding it high. Just as Luan Bao's voice was hoarse, two sturdy bandits jumped off a lush tree. The bandit on the left looked at the head on Luan Leopard's hand and then examined his robust physique, nodding in satisfaction. He has a good physique and is a good candidate to become a bandit. He is also sensible and knows how to meet the red before entering the mountain. Where did a person get killed? Luan Bao said with a pleasing expression, "It's a place outside that passes by a mountain road. I was worried about where to go to slaughter a fat sheep as a gift to pay respects to the mountain village, but I came across this person driving a cart and even pulling several bags of grain." The two bandits immediately said, "Take us to take a look." Luan Bao took two bandits to see Kai Laoyao's body, and saw the ox cart and the body. The two bandits no longer doubted. The bandit who had not spoken before said to Luan Bao, "Although brothers sincerely joined, according to the rules of our Tiger Jumping Stronghold, brothers who have just entered the mountain must walk with their eyes covered. Please don't take it amiss, brothers." The bandit spoke and pulled out a black cloth. Luan Bao obediently asked the bandit to cover his eyes and take him up the mountain. After Luan Bao and two bandits walked away, Luan Hu and Luan Xiong, dressed in Zhao Yanhuan's auspicious clothing, followed. Luan Hu, Luan Xiong, and Luan Bao, the three brothers, were born as hunters and have been climbing and fighting in the mountains since childhood. They have become familiar with the mountains and forests. Relying on the convenience of trees and clothes to cover up and follow, the two of them managed not to let the bandits in front notice. However, the two of them did not dare to follow too closely. If Tiger Leaping Fortress can stand firm under the repeated encirclement of the government, it is definitely not easy for people to touch its lair. The two only confirmed that they saw one leopard climbing the mountain and left Tiger Jumping Mountain to avoid being discovered by bandits. After leaving Hujiao Mountain, Luan Hu returned directly to Chipai village. Luan Xiong did not go far and stayed in the mountains not far from Hujiao Mountain to pick up Luan Bao. When Wan Hu returned to Chipai village, Zhao Yanhuan was accompanying Li Qing to treat and prescribe medicine for the newly joined refugees. Li Qing was in front of the refugees, taking their pulse and prescribing medicine one by one, while Zhao Yanhuan and his cousin Zhao Huar were responsible for dispensing medicine. After grabbing the medicine, Zhao Yan smiled and gave it to the old woman in front of him, gently admonishing her. "Auntie, remember to take this medicine once a day, morning and evening. Boil the medicine and go to the village cafeteria, where there is a dedicated place for boiling medicine. The medicine jars and stove are all ready. Made, and don't hesitate to throw away the medicine. You can't boil one medicine several times." Zhao Yanhuan's advice is patient, meticulous, and heartwarming. The old woman wiped away her tears and tightly grasped Zhao Yanhuan's hand, her voice choking up. "Village chief, you are the bodhisattva from the sky who came down to save us struggling people. I don't know how to be grateful to you. Why don't I kowtow a few more heads to you?" The old woman was about to kneel down and kowtow to Zhao Yanhuan, but Zhao Yanhuan quickly helped the old woman who was kneeling at any time. "Auntie, get up quickly. I'm not a bodhisattva. I'm just an ordinary person who can't save the world, but can only save the people in front of me." "No, no, no, you are the living bodhisattva, the living bodhisattva of us suffering people." The old woman insisted that Zhao Yanhuan was a bodhisattva, and not only the old woman, but also the refugees surrounding her called Zhao Yanhuan Bodhisattva. Everyone has a fervent belief in Zhao Yanhuan in their eyes. When Wan Hu returned, he saw Zhao Yanhuan hurriedly helping the refugees who were kowtowing to her one by one. Looking at the hope in the eyes of these refugees and the fanaticism towards Zhao Yanhuan, Wan Hu couldn't help but straighten his chest and look at Yu Rongyan. This is the Ming Lord he has chosen, and his vision is indeed the best. At that time, Wan Hu and his two younger brothers protected their weak mother and fled for several months. They were in dire straits, and if it weren't for meeting Zhao Yanhuan, their family wouldn't have survived. So Wan Hu and his two younger brothers are completely loyal to Zhao Yanhuan, the kind who can die for her. Zhao Yanhuan also saw Wan Hu, but she didn't rush to ask Wan Hu. Instead, she helped Li Qing treat all the refugees and prescribe medicine, and arranged for all the refugees who came today before inviting Wan Hu forward. Wan Hu and Zhao Yanhuan helped Li Qing collect things while lowering their voice and saying, "Village chief, the third person has successfully entered the tiger jumping village. Everything is going smoothly, and the other party has not raised any doubts." Zhao Yanhuan nodded, waved his hand, and called Zhao Huar over, saying, "Next, you two should make good arrangements to keep everyone alert. The distinguished guest is coming, so please treat him well." Wan Hu and Zhao Huar nodded earnestly, both of whom were capable individuals. Wan Hu won't say anything about it. Zhao Huar is the daughter of Zhao Yibao, the uncle of Zhao Yanhuan. She has been learning and practicing martial arts with Zhao Yanhuan since childhood, and was taught by him. She has extremely strong ability to handle affairs. The two of them received orders to help tidy up Li Qing's medical stall and left for work. Because the refugees did not know what problems they might have, the place where Li Qing treated them was in the small house at the village entrance. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Women and Heroes 3. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Women and Heroes 3 After each consultation, just leave the things in the house and have the villagers help to guard them. On the way back, Li Qing casually asked Zhao Yanhuan, "How was your plan going? Are there any problems?" Zhao Yanhuan hugged Li Qing's arm and said with a smile, "Mom, can't you still believe me? Then everything must be going smoothly." Li Qing and Zhao Yanhuan are mother-daughter duos of time travel, but Zhao Yanhuan feels more like she is reincarnated. At that time, the mother and daughter went on a self-driving trip to XZ and encountered thunder on the way. Lightning struck through the sky and earth, circling around the car and chopping down. The scene was like crossing a calamity, very shocking. Although very scary, it is also a rare sight to see. Zhao Yanhuan and Li Qing couldn't help but take out their phones and wanted to take a beautiful photo. As a result, a lightning bolt fell and the mother and daughter entered this chaotic and historically unknown ancient society together. However, when crossing over, there was a problem. At that time, Li Qing, who was in this world, heard the bad news of his husband's death in corps AE labor and had difficulty giving birth on the spot, resulting in 2 lives. It was Li Qing and Zhao Yanhuan who crossed over, and it was only then that the original Li Qing and the child in her belly came back to life. Zhao Yanhuan was also given birth again by her mother. This world is at the end of the imperial dynasty, with a succession of incompetent rulers and countless harsh taxes and levies. It is common for ordinary people to starve to death in a good year, but it will be even more tragic in a disaster year. Sell children, sell women, sell oneself, serve as slaves to wealthy families, become hidden households, and eat each other. After knowing what kind of world she was in, Zhao Yanhuan decided that she would rebel. Li Qing, on the other hand, decided to study medicine. In order to live well and long in ancient times, doctors were essential. But unfortunately, there were fewer ancient doctors and more quacks, so it's not as reliable as learning medical skills on your own. Since Zhao Yanhuan recaptured the entire population of Chipai village and formed a partnership with County Magistrate Gai Xiong to do the silver frost charcoal business, Li Qing has devoted all his energy to medicine and has given up everything. So this time Li Qing just casually asked, and Zhao Yanhuan said it was okay, so she stopped asking further. Zhao Yanhuan is a strong woman who started her own business in modern times, and Li Qing has always trusted her daughter's abilities. The 2 of them returned home, and Uncle Zhao Yibao, Uncle Mother Zhuang, and 4th Uncle Zhao Yitsang were busy making lunch together in the kitchen. Seeing Zhao Yanhuan and Li Qing, Zhuang warmly greeted them and said, "The 3rd younger brother and sister have returned, and the meal is ready. Come in and warm up quickly. We will be eating soon." Zhao Yibao is a man who looks honest and honest. He greeted his wife with a gentle smile and then lowered his head to help her burn firewood. Zhao Yichang is the youngest. Although he is the 4th uncle of Zhao Yanhuan, he has just turned 19 years old and is not much older than Zhao Yanhuan. His personality is very unconventional. At this moment, he came over with a fish basket and excitedly offered his treasure. "Yanhuan, come on, what did 4th uncle catch for you and come back?" Zhao Yanhuan lowered her head and saw a basket full of fish, not even small in size. Zhao Yichang has a unique skill in catching fish, especially in winter. Others can't catch a few fish in a day, and he never goes empty-handed. Zhao Yanhuan praised, "4th uncle is really impressive." Zhao Yichang was immediately overjoyed and couldn't help but wag his tail. Although Zhao Yanhuan was a niece, she was too powerful to be praised by her. Happy Zhao Yichang immediately said, "It's too late to make it at noon. Let's have my sister-in-law make braised fish for us tonight." Since Zhao Yanhuan and Li Qing became wealthy with their whole family, the Zhuang family has been practicing their culinary skills diligently, and now their culinary skills are comparable to those of a restaurant chef. Hearing Zhao Yichang's words, Zhuang said casually, "Okay, we can not only cook braised fish in brown sauce, but also fish head soup and fish meatballs in the evening." After chatting for a while, the family sat down to eat. Zhao Yichang couldn't sit still and asked Zhao Yanhuan, "Yanhuan, what do you want me to do about this?" Before Zhao Yanhuan could speak, Zhao Yibao next to him said directly, "Yitsang, this matter is related to the lives of more than 200 people in Chipai village. Don't act recklessly." Zhao Yichang, who was originally excited, immediately wilted. Zhao Yanhuan couldn't help but say, "Actually, it's not impossible." Zhao Yichang immediately became excited again and looked at Zhao Yanhuan with expectant eyes. Zhao Yibao said helplessly, "Yanhuan, don't get used to him too much. He's already an uncle. Don't compare himself to you, even the flowers are more stable than him." Zhao Yanhuan really likes Zhao Yichang's personality. Fourth uncle, this is a childlike nature, precious, and I really have something to ask fourth uncle to do. Zhao Yicheng immediately moved the stool to Zhao Yanhuan's side and said, Yanhuan, what do you want me to do? With a faint smile on her face, Zhao Yanhuan said to Zhao Yicheng, I need you to help me perform a good play. Subsequently, Zhao Yanhuan lowered her voice and told Zhao Yicheng how to act and how to act. Hearing this, Zhao Yicheng's eyes became increasingly bright, filled with eager excitement. After Zhao Yanhuan finished speaking, Zhao Yicheng didn't even bother to eat. He stood up and said, I'm going to find someone to accompany me in acting, and we'll rehearse in advance to ensure the perfect performance of this scene. Zhao Yicheng picked up a pancake, rolled 2 pieces of braised pork belly, and ran away as fast as a rabbit. When arranging deployment on Zhao Yanhuan's side, Wan Bao, who had already arrived at the Tiger Leaping Fortress, was performing archery. The archery technique of piercing through the sky with 100 steps drew applause from the onlookers, and the village was filled with joy. The tall and strong leader of the Tiger Leaping Fortress, Wang Datian, happily patted Wan Bao's shoulder, his big teeth revealing a smile. Brother, you have great skills. I have another fierce general from my mountain stronghold. Wan Bao smiled and clasped his fists, I also want to thank the village leader for being willing to take me in. You have such good skills that even hunting in the mountains can make a living. Why did you come to our tiger jumping stronghold? The speaker is Wang Erdi, the younger brother of Wang Datian, and also the second village leader of Tiger Leaping Village. Unlike Wang Datian, who has a robust physique, Wang Erdi is thin and dry with a tuft of goatee. Wang Erdi is not only thin and small, but also looks old, as if old farmers can be seen everywhere outside. At this moment, Wang Erdi looked at Wan Bao with a look of scrutiny and suspicion. Wan Bao was already prepared for this, and Zhao Yanhuan helped him analyze various possible situations and countermeasures before he came. Wan Bao seemed to not feel Wang Erdi's suspicion and exclaimed, It's not that easy. I can feed myself by hunting, but this court issues corvée 3 times a year, with 10 people going and 5 returning, and half of them dying in the heavy corvée. It's really impossible to survive outside. Although Wang Datian and Wang Erdi have been bandits for many years, they also have a deep understanding of the hardships of corvée East in the court. Back then, they just escaped corvée and didn't dare to go home before becoming bandits. The laws of this dynasty are strict, especially avoiding corvée, which is a capital offense, and even failing to arrive at the place of service on time is a capital offense. I have also been a bandit for too long, not paying taxes or performing corvée, and have forgotten the most feared corvée among the people. Now Wang Erdi doesn't doubt whether one leopard really can't survive. Wan Bao said, Actually, when I came to the mountain village this time, I have another message that can make the village no longer worry about food. I want to tell the 2 village leaders, but I don't know if they are willing to believe me. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Women and Heroes 4. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Women and Heroes 4 Wang Datian and Wang Erdi exchanged a glance. Wang Datian looked at Wan Bao and said directly, What news? Let me hear it. Wan Bao immediately said, I wonder if the 2 village leaders know about Chipai village. Wang Datian and Wang Erdi's eyes lit up and they nodded together. Wang Datian said somewhat displeased, I already knew about Chipai village and knew that it was very prosperous. I even took people to rob it twice. Wang Erdi said somewhat regretfully, Unfortunately, although the 7 Rose village is a village, it has a high wall built outside that is the same as the county town and cannot be penetrated at all. We tried twice before, but we didn't get close to the city wall. There were people hanging bows and shooting arrows on the far side, so we couldn't even get close. It's no use pretending to be a refugee. There are many strong villagers guarding inside, pretending to be a refugee and not carrying weapons. Even if you enter, you will still be delivering vegetables. Wang Datian and Wang Erdi felt uncomfortable when they thought of Chipai village. A fat sheep was placed in front of them, unable to eat. This fat sheep looks plump and delicious, but in fact, it has copper skin and iron bones. Not to mention eating it, even a bite would break 2 big teeth. Luan Bao immediately said, "Do those 2 village leaders know why this 7-rose village is so prosperous?" Wang Datian became a bit impatient and his voice grew louder. "There's something I don't know about it. Several nearby counties know about it. There's a female bodhisattva named Zhao Yanhuan from the 7-rose village. It is said that Zhao Yanhuan has great abilities. He leads the people of Chipai village to cultivate the land, and has a bountiful harvest every year. He also has surplus resources to take in refugees from various places." Luan Bao immediately said, "If I say so, I have a way for you, the village leader, to bring Zhao Yanhuan into our tiger-jumping village and become your wife." Wang Datian and Wang Erdi's expressions were somewhat incredulous. Wang Erdi frowned and said, "So Zhao Yan is happy and proud. It is said that many wealthy young masters have looked up to her and she disdains her. Can she be willing to marry my elder brother? Although they don't want to be looked down upon, it is a fact that their bandits are not seen and cannot be denied." Luanhu deliberately said mysteriously, "If it had been in the past, of course it would not have been possible, but now it's different. It's said that Zhao Yanhuan has been taken in by the county magistrate, who wants to take her as a concubine. Zhao Yanhuan is so arrogant. She doesn't want to be with those wealthy young masters because she despises them for having concubines. How could she be willing to become a concubine for the county magistrate? But now the county magistrate wants to take concubines, and no other family dares to compete with him. But you are different, the village leader. You don't have to be afraid of the county magistrate. If you, the village leader, are willing to marry Zhao Yanhuan as his wife and promise never to take concubines, I think it's highly likely that Zhao Yanhuan will be willing to marry you. It is said that Zhao Yanhuan has high-yield wheat seeds in his hands, which can double the yield per mu. If Zhao Yanhuan were in our village, we wouldn't have to worry about going hungry." Wang Datian and Wang Erdi were deeply moved. "Don't think the bandits won't go hungry anymore. Although the bandits have no business, not all robberies are successful, and there are not always those who can be robbed. For bandits, if they grab it today, they may starve to death tomorrow because they haven't opened for a long time." Wang Erdi made a decisive decision and said, "I will go down the mountain tomorrow to investigate whether this news is true." Wang Erdi's people are thin and small. As long as they change into refugee clothes and stain themselves, no one can see any flaws. The next morning, Wang Erdi went down the mountain, but he didn't immediately go to Chipai village. Wang Erdi first found a group of refugees who couldn't survive and wandered around. Such refugees are not uncommon, they are all people who have lost their land due to natural and man-made disasters. They beg for food, work part-time, and do anything to avoid starving. Wang Erdi slightly promoted the benefits of going to Chipai village, and these refugees followed Wang Erdi to Chipai village. This is Wang Erdi's first time entering Chipai village. The exterior walls of Chipai village are tall and heavy. There are people patrolling the walls, and there are people stationed on the high pavilions on both sides of the walls for a long time to observe the situation in all directions. Especially after entering the village of Chipai village, one can see a large row of middle-aged men and women carrying knives patrolling. Wang Erdi once again confirmed that these 7 rows of villages cannot be forcefully attacked. So he followed a group of hooligans very quietly and was ordered to have congee by the villagers of Chipai village. Wang Erdi took a look and found that the congee was very thick, and it was really the Chipai village, which was rich and powerful. After drinking congee, Wang Erdi followed the refugees and was arranged by the villagers of Chipai village to go to a small house for consultation. The person in charge of seeing a doctor is a beautiful woman, and next to her is an extremely beautiful girl who is helping to apply medicine. The villagers of the nearby 7 Rose village looked at Wang Erdi and said proudly, that girl is our village chief Zhao Yanhuan. The one who is treating is her mother, who is also the only doctor in our village, Li Qing. Just now, Wang Erdi deliberately approached this villager and gave him money, which led to a lot of news from the villager's mouth. For example, Zhao Yanhuan does know how to farm and cultivate high-yield wheat seeds, which is also true. Also, Zhao Yanhuan was indeed targeted by the county magistrate and wanted to take her as a concubine. Wang Erdi has also observed that the villagers of this seven-rose village all look plump. Of course, this so-called fullness is just not too thin and doesn't match the weight, but it is enough to prove that they are living a good life. In theory, life should be good with a smile on their face, but the attitude of these villagers is somewhat worried, almost without a smile. He knew the reason with just a little question, because the villagers were all worried that Zhao Yanhuan would be taken away by the county magistrate, so they had no backbone in Chipai village. It seems that this news is true, and Wang Erdi was a bit excited in his heart, so he suppressed it again. He lined up with the refugees to be treated by Li Qing, and then thanked them with gratitude like everyone else, but he kept observing Zhao Yanhuan discreetly. The other party has a gentle attitude towards the people, appearing to be in a state of melancholy and not very happy. Wang Erdi did not observe too much and was afraid of attracting attention. He followed the refugees all the way into the courtyard of Chipai village, where they were specifically resettled for the first time. Wang Erdi thought he was flawless, but he didn't know that after he left, the villager from Chipai village who was bribed by him found Zhao Yanhuan. He directly placed the money bribed by Wang Erdi in front of Zhao Yanhuan and said, "Village chief, that person named Wang Lauer is the bandit who came this time. I have observed carefully as you said, and as soon as Wang Erdi came in, he seemed very honest. In fact, he was everywhere inquiring about the news of our Seven Rose village. He also gave me money and asked me a lot about our Seven Rose village, with a focus on whether we have high-yield wheat seeds and whether the county magistrate wanted to take you as a concubine." The villager even shrugged and said, "You're such a fool. There's no county magistrate who wants to make you a concubine." As soon as he says that, I know he's a bandit. Zhao Yanhuan praised and said, "You did a great job. You can keep this silver. If he wants to inquire about anything next, you can tell him and he will give you the silver. You don't need to tell me, just keep it yourself." The villagers happily picked up the silver and said, "Don't worry, village chief. I will never give you a chain." Seeing off the villager, Zhao Yanhuan and Li Qing did not go home, but went to Li Qing's pharmacy located at the foot of the northern mountain in the village. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Women and Heroes 5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Women and Heroes 5. This pharmacy is the place where Zhao Yanhuan and Zhao Hua accompanied Li Qing to pick herbs and return after the warm weather, and initially processed the medicinal materials. But now there are 7 or 8 copper distillation pots working in the medicine house, and a strong aroma of wine permeates everywhere. In the medicine house, Zhao Yanhuan's uncle Zhao Yibao and several villagers looked at the distillation kettle, repeatedly distilling the originally low-alcohol ordinary liquor. The distillation time was too long, and the medicine house was filled with alcohol. In order to avoid getting drunk, Zhao Yibao and others wore thick masks to block the alcohol. Seeing Zhao Yanhuan and Li Qing, Zhao picked up a small wine jar and handed it to her, saying, "This is the alcohol that has been distilled several times. Can you see if it's the one you mentioned?" Zhao Yanhuan pulled off the lid, smelled it, and the smell rushed to her nose. She licked it, and her spicy tongue was sore for half a day, unable to recover. He handed the wine jar to Li Qing again, who also sniffed it and said, "It's impossible to determine the alcohol content, but this wine is definitely close to the quality of alcohol." Zhao Yanhuan nodded and said to Zhao Yibao, "It's already qualified." "Thank you, uncle. How much have you produced in total?" Zhao Yibao pointed to the row of more than 10 wine jars standing in the corner of the wall and said, "Where are they all? Do you think they're enough?" Zhao Yanhuan looked at the row of half-a-person-tall wine jars and smiled, that's enough. Next, please ask uncle to take someone to make special marks on these alcohols, make them more obscure, don't let anyone see them, and send them to the wine cellar. Zhao Yibao patted his chest and said, leave it to me, don't worry. Leaving the pharmacy, Zhao Yanhuan and Li Qing returned home. On the other hand, Wang Erdi, who had successfully infiltrated Chipai village, was still wandering around the village. The refugees who are not prohibited from entering Chipai village are allowed to move around. When spring comes, Zhao Yanhuan will arrange land for these refugees who have no assets to farm and support their families. Zhao Yanhuan is not only the village head of Chipai village, but also a big landlord with a lot of land under his command, all of which were purchased by Gai Xiong. It is only with these lands in hand that Zhao Yanhuan has the confidence to accommodate so many refugees. Gai Xiong is just a county magistrate from a middle-class family background, and he already has such great ability to protect Zhao Yanhuan, a commoner who has developed into a big landlord, yet no one dares to pay attention. Other larger aristocratic families, with only one hand covering the sky, do not even consider imperial power, and the common people of the world are nothing but ants and grass. When Zhao Yanhuan and Li Qing returned home, they happened to catch Zhao Yichang running out holding a large bag of wheat ears. Seeing Zhao Yanhuan and Li Qing, Zhao Yichang happily shook the bundle of wheat ears in his hand and said excitedly, Yanhuan, I'm going to act. The lingering sound still lingers, and people have already run far away. Zhuang rushed behind and shouted, Ikang, make your favorite roasted duck at home. Come back early. After shouting and seeing Zhao Yanhuan and Li Qing, Zhuang immediately said to the two of them, you still have good taste. I just made 2 roasted ducks and 4 thighs, and give each of you one. Li Qing laughed and said, it seems that our mother and daughter have a better taste than each other. Zhao Yanhuan and Li Qing went into the kitchen to help Zhuang serve rice and vegetables. Thinking about Zhao Yibao, who was making alcohol in the medicine house, they said, Auntie, let's leave half of this dish in the pot and keep it hot for Auntie. It's better to save time. The dish is too cold and not delicious. Zhuang said while holding a bowl, I have already left the dishes for him. They are on the stove over there, let's eat ours. While Zhao Yanhuan was eating here, Wang Erdi had already chatted with several waves of villagers in the village. Wang Erdi felt that the villagers in Chipai village were very enthusiastic, perhaps due to the frequent influx of refugees in the village, and even chatting with him was somewhat familiar. However, Wang Erdi didn't think much and squatted at the door of the house to chat before leaving. But he didn't know that he had only left before, and the enthusiastic man on the back was forcefully pinched on the arm by the woman beside him. Wasn't Hua and Luan Hu telling us not to be too enthusiastic when encountering people inquiring about news, appearing fake? Take a look at your performance just now. Would you like to tell him all the news in one go? Acting so fake, what if he suspects it? The man gritted his teeth and rubbed the area where the woman had pinched him, complaining, you mother.in.law, always so fierce, but I see that bandit is stupid and didn't notice anything wrong. Wang Erdi, who was said to be foolish, is now strolling towards the high wall of Chipai village. The news has been gathered and it is time to return to the mountain stronghold. However, Wang Erdi thought that he couldn't leave alone, it was too abrupt. It would be best to leave with a group of villagers from Chipai village who were going out, which seemed natural. As a result, we arrived at the exit below the wall and saw a group of people tearing and tugging around a young man. The man still held a big bundle in his hand, and a group of people blocked the exit tightly, forcing Wang Erdi to watch the play. The group of people in front of me was making a lot of noise, with many people talking together. It was only after half a day of chaos that Wang and Di could hear what was being said clearly. The crowd surrounding the young man is accusing him. Zhao Yichang, the village chief, said you can't take out the wheat seeds. You put down the wheat seeds. Zhao Yichang, do you deserve to do this to the village chief? Take him to see the village chief and see how he handles him. Zhao Yichang tightly hugged the bundle in his arms and struggled, saying, "You are meddling in your own business. I am your village chief's fourth uncle. This wheat seed belongs to my family, and besides, I am going to use it as a dowry. Even if Yan Huan finds out, he won't blame me as the fourth uncle. He wants you to keep picking up mice here." A group of people were arguing and fighting, struggling to figure out who accidentally pulled out the package from Zhao Yichang's arms. Due to excessive force, the person fell directly onto the ground, and the bundle was torn apart by the person. The dry ears of wheat left inside were scattered all over the ground. A few ears of wheat happened to fall in front of Wang Erdi, and Wang Erdi's eyes were uncontrollably attracted by the ears of wheat. Although Wang Erdi was a bandit, before becoming a bandit, he worked as a farmer facing the yellow soil and facing the sky for more than 20 years. He had never seen such a plump and long ear of wheat before. This ear of wheat was enough to be more than twice that of regular wheat. And this kind of good wheat ear is not just one or two, but the whole bundle of wheat ears scattered out is so good. Wang Erdi felt his heart pounding. Previously, it was said that Zhao Yanhuan was skilled in farming, but he didn't feel much because he didn't see any real objects. But now that he saw this physical object, he truly felt what Zhao Yanhuan represented. At this moment, Wang Erdi was unprecedentedly clear and resolute in his determination to take Zhao Yanhuan to the Tiger Leaping Fortress. With Zhao Yanhuan, he and his elder brother no longer had to worry about going hungry in the future. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Women and Heroes 6. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Women and Heroes 6. Wang Erdi took advantage of the group of people being torn and twisted together, and no one noticed him. He bent down and quickly picked up a few wheat ears and put them into his arms. Then, approaching the exit of the high wall, he stepped out of the door and quickened his pace all the way. Watching no one behind him notice him, Wang Erdi couldn't help but run away and return to the Tiger Jumping Fortress at the fastest speed. Along the way, Wang Erdi kept covering his chest with his hands until he entered the Tiger Leaping Fortress and saw Wang Datian. Only then did Wang Erdi carefully take out the wheat ears that he had protected all the way. Wang Datian was originally anxiously waiting for news from Wang Erdi when he saw Wang Erdi protecting his chest and carefully taking out a few wheat ears from his pocket. Like Wang Erdi, seeing this wheat ear immediately caught Wang Datian's attention. He wanted to reach out for it, but unconsciously wiped his hands on himself before carefully picking up the wheat ears handed to him by Wang Erdi. Wang Erdi's face was filled with uncontrollable excitement. "Big brother, this Zhao Yanhuan, you must marry her back. Have you seen this wheat ear? This is the high-yield wheat seed she has cultivated. As the saying goes, although we are bandits now, we have been farmers for the first 2 to 3 decades, and our love for planting is rooted in our bloodline. We cannot help but be excited about these high-yield crops." Wang Datian excitedly patted his thigh and said, "Marry, even if Zhao Yanhuan refuses to marry me, he will also snatch me away. Big brother, there is a big valley behind our mountain stronghold. The only way to get there is a narrow canyon, but the land inside is quite fertile. If we have wheat seeds and fill the valley with wheat, we won't have to worry about eating even if we can't grab anything for a year in the future." Wang Erdi has started planning how to plant wheat after having it. Wang Datian excitedly arranged for someone to prepare the dowry, but he didn't want to wait for a moment. He immediately went to Chipai village to ask for Zhao Yanhuan's marriage. However, Wang Datian hesitated for a moment about who to take with him. Luan Bao, who brought news of Zhao Yanhuan, should have taken it. But just a few days after Luan Leopard joined the Tiger Leaping village, according to the rules of the village, the new arrivals not only have to kill and cut off their way, but also participate in a robbery. And ensure to kill people in the robbery, prove that you can really eat this bowl of food in order to truly be considered a member of the village, and allow you to know the way in and out of the village. Although Luan Leopard saw red and cut off his way, he has not yet gone through a robbery, so he cannot be completely counted as a member of the village. After much contemplation, Wang Datian decided not to bring Luan Bao with him and not to break the rules. Originally, Wang Datian was worried that Luan Leopard would be dissatisfied, but this move was in line with Luan Leopard's intentions. The people in Chipai village all know him, so if anyone accidentally says something and causes suspicion from Wang Datian and Wang Erdi when he goes, it will be troublesome. Seeing Luan Bao so reasonable, both Wang Datian and Wang Erdi had a great liking for Luan Bao and completely let go of their guard. Visiting to propose marriage is not a door-to-door robbery, and one cannot be too careless. Wang Datian specially opened the warehouse and took out 10 boxes of goods he had snatched from it, as well as several pieces of red silk. Give it to the horse, put red flowers on the box, and tie red flowers on both myself and the bandits who followed the journey. It looked very festive, and then left the Tiger Leaping Fortress with their people and headed straight for Chipai village. Tiger Leaping village is not too far from Chipai village, and soon Wang Datian brought people to Chipai village. However, Chipai village remained vigilant as always, and the people on the observation towers at both corners of the wall noticed Wang Datian approaching early on and immediately closed the door. Previously, Wang Datian and Wang Erdi came to Chipai village. Although neither of them could come in, the people in Chipai village still remembered their looks. At this moment it was discovered that Wang Datian was approaching, and the people on the lookout immediately warned the people below to close the door. An archer stood at the edge of the wall and arched, aiming at Wang Datian and his group. If someone comes to stop, we won't hesitate to continue moving forward. Wang Datian raised his hand and everyone stopped in place. He pulled his neck and shouted, "Friends ahead, we are not bad people. We are here to propose marriage to your village chief Zhao Yanhuan. Don't misunderstand." The people of Chipai village had known Wang Datian's intentions for a long time, but they still pretended and said, "Wang Datian, others don't know who you are. Do the people of Chipai village know you? Have you forgotten about wanting to rob our 7 Rose village twice but being beaten away? Don't try to deceive us, our village chief can't marry a bandit either." Wang Datian remained calm and continued with a smile, "What's wrong with the bandits? Look at my long face. Although I'm not a little white-faced, I still have a handsome appearance, isn't it? Wang Datian is indeed not ugly. He is 8 feet tall, and although his face is rough, he has a high nose and big eyes. He is also a bit handsome. Moreover, although I am a bandit, I am the leader of Tiger Leaping Stronghold and have never had a wife or concubine. I have come sincerely to marry your village chief. I can also promise that if your village chief is willing to marry me as his wife, I will not accept any other mistresses except for this one in the future." Wang Datian tugged at the big red silk flower on his chest and said with a smile, "Aren't you worried that your village chief has been targeted by the county magistrate and wants to be forcibly taken as a concubine? As long as you marry me, this matter will be easily resolved. Others are afraid of the county magistrate, but I am not afraid. Moreover, I can guarantee not to take concubines or sleep with other women. You village chief cannot guarantee this by marrying any man, can you? Of course, if Zhao Yanhuan is willing to marry a man who relies on her for a living, that's another question. But is your village chief willing?" It has to be said that Wang Datian has some ability to become the leader of the large village and obediently manage hundreds of bandits. At least these words are very provocative. If it weren't for knowing that the county magistrate's acceptance of his village chief as a concubine was false, they would have been convinced by Wang Datian. Now, a few people pretended to be convinced by Wang Datian, and one of them loudly said, "Wait here, I'll go report to our village chief." Wang Datian was very proud to see that the people on the wall had been convinced by himself. After waiting quietly for a while, the closed city gate opened and a group of people came out, which was Zhao Yanhuan with the 2 brothers Luan Hu and Luan Xiong. Seeing Zhao Yanhuan, Wang Datian couldn't help but feel a hint of surprise in his eyes. He didn't expect Zhao Yanhuan to have such a good appearance. At first, Wang Datian was a bit unwilling to have only one woman in the future, but when he saw Zhao Yanhuan's face, he suddenly felt that it was okay not to look at other women in front of such a beautiful woman for the rest of his life. Zhao Yanhuan looked up and down at Wang Datian, and he suddenly felt a bit nervous. Instinctively, he sat up straight on the horse's back, wanting to appear more handsome. After looking around, Zhao Yanhuan said without much emotion, "Do you want to marry me?" "Yes, it's me." Wang Datian couldn't wait to repeat what he had said before and confidently said, "Zhao village chief, besides me, you definitely have no better choice." Zhao Yanhuan made a gesture of being moved by Wang Datian's words and said with some emotion, "My family and business are big here. If I marry you, I will also be together. Can you accept it?" "That's naturally not possible. It's not that the people in Chipai village cannot live in Huqiao village, but rather that there are elderly and young people in Chipai village. When they go to Huqiao village, they cannot support them, and they have to eat as much food as they want. Another important reason is that Tiger Jumping Village has never raised idle people, and some women, including the elderly and children, are not accepted." End of this chapter. 7. Chapter 7 Women and Heroes 7. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Women and Heroes 7 Wang Datian and Wang Erdi both feel that the elderly and children are a burden, and they eat for nothing. Another reason is that two people feel that only those who are carefree and have a cold heart and lungs are the strongest. But Wang Datian did not speak frankly, but said, "Although I also want to agree, it's okay to have fewer people in Chipai village. If the whole village is gone, the government will definitely not ignore it. When the time comes, it's also a trouble for you and me to alarm the government to attack the Tiger Jumping Fortress. Why don't you and your relatives go to the Tiger Jumping Fortress together? It's better for both sides to be unaware." Wang Datian's words are just fooling ghosts. They are all planning to snatch women from the county magistrate. How could they be afraid of being attacked by the government? In Wang Datian's eyes, the soldiers of the government are just a bunch of trash. Not to mention hitting them, they can't even find the door of Tiger Leaping Stronghold. From this unwavering lie, it can be seen that Wang Datian did not take Zhao Yanhuan seriously and thought she was easy to deceive. The arrogance of ancient men believed that women had long hair and short knowledge, and could deceive them with anything they said. Zhao Yanhuan was not angry that Wang Datian looked down on her. It's good to look down on her. Only by looking down on her can we not be wary of her and make her plans smoother. So Zhao Yanhuan seemed to believe Wang Datian's words and frowned hesitantly, saying, "But when I go to the mountain stronghold, I can't have no one left. What if you bully me?" Zhao Yanhuan's words gave Wang Datian a good excuse. The combat effectiveness of the villagers in Chipai village is not inferior to that of these bandits. These bandits are also short of manpower. Only when there are too many people can they rob a large caravan. Small robberies cannot compare to the abundance of a large merchant's caravan. If we can level the air with a few hundred more people, then the strength of Tiger Jumping Fortress will be stronger, and we can try to go further and rob the large caravan. Sure enough, as soon as Wang Datian heard Zhao Yanhuan's words, his eyes lit up and he said directly, "If you're worried about this, you can choose a strong person as your subordinate and join you in the Tiger Jumping Stronghold." Wang Datian has selectively ignored Zhao Yanhuan's statement that these people who bring up the knockoff are her subordinates. After Zhao Yanhuan marries him, she will be his own, let alone her subordinates. Besides, Wang Datian doesn't believe that a woman can lead a group of men, so he doesn't believe that they have entered the knockoff. His powerful leader can't even recover these people. The more Wang Datian wants to be more beautiful, the more he smiles, the more he grins. Zhao Yanhuan is also very happy, just like this kind of hook and bite, digging holes and jumping. She said happily, "Okay, then I'll take 200 people to the mountain stronghold together. Don't worry, they are all strong, not old or weak. But to put it bluntly, if you marry me, then I, the wife of the village leader, cannot be just a decoration. I will also be in charge of the affairs in your village when the time comes." Wang Datian also said very happily, "No problem, everything depends on you." Anyway, after going to the mountain stronghold, Zhao Yanhuan was also responsible for managing the farming. Isn't managing the farming also a part of managing the stronghold? Wang Datian responded casually without hesitation. Zhao Yanhuan also wants to fight quickly and make a quick decision. She is very tight on time. She said directly, "Since that's the case, I'll prepare my dowry in the person I'm going to take with me to the knockoff. You can also go back and prepare it. We'll get married in 3 days." Zhao Yanhuan's directness made Wang Datian dumbfounded, but he didn't expect Zhao Yanhuan to mention the step of getting married so quickly. Wang Datian, who was momentarily unresponsive, let out a foolish voice and said, "Ah." Zhao Yanhuan immediately said, "If it's too late, there will be changes. The faster we get married, the better. We can't wait to take it slow." Wang Datian suddenly remembered that there was a county magistrate who wanted to take Zhao Yanhuan as his concubine. This is indeed faster. He is not afraid of officers and soldiers in the knockoff, but if he encounters officers and soldiers outside, he will have to weigh it up. With this thought in mind, Wang Datian also said impatiently, "You can't wait. Then I'll leave the dowry here and go back to prepare. Come and pick up the wedding on time in 3 days." Wang Datian was eager to marry Zhao Yanhuan back and sent the dowry he brought to the walls of the 7 Rose village. He didn't even enter the village, so he hurriedly left. 3 days passed hastily, and when Wang Datian arrived anxiously on horseback 3 days later, 200 strong laborers supported Zhao Yanhuan's sedan chair and followed Wang Datian out of Chipai village. When leaving, Wang Datian looked back at the high wall of Chipai village, feeling a bit regretful. Just now he entered Chipai village and saw firsthand how prosperous Chipai village was. Unfortunately, he couldn't grab a piece of it. However, looking at the sedan beside him, Wang Datian let go of this regret again. With this big treasure, Tiger Jumping Village will be wealthier than 7 Rose Village in the future. Because it was a marriage, Zhao Yanhuan and the people around her will also be from Tiger Leaping Village in the future. This time, Wang Datian didn't make everyone blind throughout the wedding, only blindfolded on the way into the mountain. But Zhao Yanhuan didn't mind blindfolded, and Luan Bao, who had already entered the Tiger Leaping Village, was also in the welcoming team today. As the blindfolded black cloth was lifted, a group of people appeared in front of a smooth cliff. Zhao Yanhuan looked up and saw 2 black dots falling from the top of the cliff. Quickly, the black dots grew bigger, to the extent that they were 2 huge baskets. It seems that the biggest secret of this tiger jumping fortress is riding a huge basket up the mountain, which is indeed hidden. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Women and Heroes 8. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Women and Heroes 8 Because there are too many people getting married, coupled with a bunch of dowry items brought by Zhao Yanhuan, there are 2 large carts of wine alone. A group of people tossed and turned under the cliff for about 2 hours before pulling everything and people up to the top of the cliff. I can't see it from below, but when I reached the top of the cliff, I realized that it was flat and very large. The Tiger Leaping Fortress was built on the top of this flat cliff, and surprisingly, it was built very well. Wang Datian bent down, lifted the sedan curtain, and extended his arm, saying, "Madam, please get off the sedan." Zhao Yanhuan was wearing a green wedding dress, with a group fan in front of her, carrying out a fan ceremony with one hand, and Wang Datian's arm with the other, walking down from the sedan chair. The bandits and the Shanzhai have stood on both sides, leaving a walking path in the middle. Red cloth was also laid on the road, indicating that Wang Datian really values this wedding, even willing to lay the cloth on the ground. Although the front is blocked by a fan, the fan is not blocking against the face. Although the front is not visible, the surroundings are still clearly visible. Zhao Yanhuan observed calmly, and it must be said that the construction of the Tiger Leaping Fortress was extremely impressive. There is a wall, which is well built and not inferior to the walls of 7 Rose Village. There is an arrow tower and an observation tower on the wall. However, although this mountain fortress is well built, it seems to have been around for some time. Obviously, it cannot be built by Wang Datian. Wang Datian looked at Zhao Yanhuan as his eyes scanned the surrounding buildings, feeling a bit tempted to show off. As a bandit, Wang Datian is not so particular about rules. After all, this wedding was not held according to the rules. If you want to show off, you can directly say to Zhao Yanhuan, "My copycat is very good, isn't it inferior to your 7-rose village?" Zhao Yan smiled happily and said, "This village is indeed good. The village leader has vision." Wang Datian proudly said, "That's right, this village. It is said to have been built by the former general when he was a bandit. Later, when he was recruited, this village became vacant. When I was a child, I went hunting in the mountains and accidentally came to this village. Later on, I was forced to live, so I thought of this place the first time. When I came here, everything here was dilapidated, and I gradually repaired it. I think this place has a sense of vitality. The world is in chaos now, and maybe I can become a great general in the future. By then, you will be the general's wife. You will be the first in command and honor your ancestors." Zhao Yanhuan didn't expect Wang Datian to have a pretty idea. He even had a dream of becoming a general. However, Wang Datian, although a bandit from a rough background, has a really good brain. If given the opportunity, even if he cannot become a general, he can still make a name for himself in times of chaos. Unfortunately, Wang Datian is too cruel in nature. The reason why Tiger Leaping Fortress is feared by everyone is because they rob caravans without leaving any survivors, and robbing the village is even more like returning to two village. It's better not to let such a person go further. I don't know how many people can die less. As they spoke, they arrived at the village hall, which was usually a gathering place for villagers to discuss matters. Now it has been sorted out and used for worship. The process of paying respects was very simple. Zhao Yanhuan didn't let Li Qing come to avoid any accidents, and Wang Datian didn't have any parents either. So paying homage to parents saves the burden, paying homage to heaven and earth. After the couple pays homage, it is considered a ritual. Zhao Yanhuan was not sent to the bridal chamber, but instead had a banquet with Wang Datian and everyone. Zhao Yanhuan went up the mountain with 200 people, not alone. He had a weapon in his hand, and with a weapon, he had the right to speak. Even if it's against the rules for the bride not to enter the bridal chamber after paying respects, no one dares to say anything. Zhao Yanhuan and Wang Datian stood shoulder to shoulder on the high platform, with bandits and the villagers she brought below. The bandits don't work, eat well, and each one is strong and strong. However, compared to the villagers in Chipai village, they are somewhat inferior. The villagers of Chipai village are not only physically strong, but if they take off their clothes, they can find that they are all covered in flesh and tendons, and even women do not lack muscles. This is because in recent years, Zhao Yanhuan has always organized military training for everyone during the idle farming season. The people of Chipai village, regardless of gender, pick up hoes as farmers, and put down hoes and pick up knives as soldiers. Wang Datian looked at these people with drooling in his eyes. With so many strong people, if he were to become his own, his strength would at least double. While Wang Datian was coveting her people, Zhao Yanhuan was also coveting the people of Tiger Jumping Fortress. On the high platform, Zhao Yanhuan didn't say anything nonsense and said directly, "From now on, I will be your village leader's wife. In the future, everyone will be a family, no matter what. Today, I brought 2 carts of braised meat and 2 carts of alcohol as a gift to meet. Everyone is open to eating and drinking today." With Zhao Yanhuan's words, the bandits below burst into enthusiastic cheers. Although they are bandits, they can only eat enough, and meat and wine are still rare good things that they can eat. Upon hearing that they could eat meat and drink alcohol freely today, all the bandits were overjoyed and excited. Zhao Yanhuan waved his hand and the villagers of Chipai village walked in, pushing several carts of meat and wine. The meat has already been marinated and placed in a huge jar. In order to stimulate the desire of these bandits to drink and eat meat, all the braised meat was personally prepared by Zhao Yanhuan, along with the most skilled men and women in the village who could cook. As soon as the lid of the jar filled with meat was opened, a strong aroma of meat burst out in an instant, and in the blink of an eye, it filled the entire conference hall. The strong and domineering taste of braised meat rushed into everyone's noses, and any unpleasant saliva flowed down the spot. Even Wang Datian and Wang Erdi, who were not lacking in meat, were salivating uncontrollably, and some even felt heartbroken about the delicious meat that they really wanted to share with everyone. However, whether these two brothers feel sorry or not, the villagers of Chipai village over there have already started to divide meat and wine for everyone under the command of Zhao Yanhuan. On the tables of Wang Datian and Wang Erdi, there was also a large plate of braised meat. After dividing the meat, a banquet was held with one sound, and everyone coincidentally extended their chopsticks towards the braised meat. Take a bite and the deliciousness will burst in your mouth, it's simply not too delicious. After eating good food and drinking well, the bandits couldn't help but reach out to their wine glasses. The taste of the wine in Chipai village is also top-notch. A mouthful of meat paired with a mouthful of wine is as joyful as a fairy. Good wine and good meat tasted good, and soon the bandits and the villagers of Chipai village exchanged glasses and started to call each other brothers. At the moment when the wine was hot and the wine was about to bottom out, the villagers of Chipai village brought up jars of strong liquor. Taking a sip of this strong liquor made the people's tongues ache, but it made the bandits love it even more. Even Wang Datian and Wang Erdi liked this stronger wine. Taking a sip, Wang Datian, who had not been drunk, instantly turned red. Wang Datian couldn't help but shudder and say, "This wine is so strong, it tastes great. Let's have another drink." Zhao Yanhuan smiled lightly and brought another glass of wine to Wang Datian, while also helping Wang Erdi fill it up next to her. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Women and Heroes 9. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Women and Heroes 9. The bandits who were already half drunk and half awake, including Wang Datian and Wang Erdi, did not notice that none of the people in Chipai village had taken a sip of this intense and tongue-wrenching wine. While everyone on Zhao Yanhuan's side was drinking, Wan Bao pushed a cart full of wine and meat to send warmth to the bandits in charge of guarding the village. Listening to the laughter and cheers in the conference hall, as well as the sound of drinking and guessing punches, these bandits who were on guard were already itching and a bit unhappy. When people become bandits, they lack discipline and a sense of responsibility, and all they do is try to eat. But now, good meat and good wine are in front of us, but we can't eat them. It's uncomfortable to have a cold breeze and watch out here. At this moment, Wan Bao arrived with wine and meat, and said enthusiastically, "Brothers, it's been hard to watch. The village leader asked me to bring wine and meat for everyone to eat. I was already craving meat in my heart, but as soon as I heard this, the bandits on duty immediately became happy. I thought the village leader would forget about our brothers when he had a beautiful lady, but I didn't expect he would still remember us." Wan Bao continued to move meat and wine, saying, "Then how could I forget about you? You are all the hardest working people, and we should give you a better taste. Taste this wine, it was brought by Madam. The wine is very strong and tastes great." With impatience, he took a bite of meat and couldn't help but take a big sip of wine. In an instant, he got his head up and spicy, sticking out his tongue and taking a long breath. "Good wine, strong enough, this is the wine that men should drink." Watching the few people guarding the checkpoint shake and fall to the ground after only 2 drinks, Wan Bao quickly tied up the person and dragged them into a secret place, then pushed onto the car and continued to the next checkpoint. In just a few days on the mountain, he has already figured out all the visible and hidden posts in the entire Tiger Leaping Fortress. Although the 3 brothers of the Wan family are hunters who excel in mountain life, Wan Leopard is best at tracking prey. He can discover various hidden prey, even the smallest mountain mouse cannot escape his eyes, let alone these hidden bandits. When Luan Bao lowered all the secret guards, the bandits on the other side of the council hall also fell to the ground. Following Zhao Yanhuan closely, Zhao Yizang stared at these bandits in astonishment, constantly trying to protect her. This alcohol is too strong, isn't it? I think they drank it in just a few sips and then poured it all out. Zhao Huar learned a lot from Zhao Yanhuan, and she shuttled back and forth among the bandits, checking each one. These bandits are drinking alcohol, so they are not ordinary drunkenness. Some of them froth at the mouth and can't stand it, while others are unconscious and vomit all over. Zhao Huar walked over and frowned at Zhao Yanhuan, saying, "Sister, these people are probably the ones you mentioned earlier about alcohol poisoning. It seems that their condition is not very good, so don't die too many." Zhao Huar doesn't really care about the lives of these bandits. They are all evil spirits that kill people like a horse, and there is nothing to be regretted. Zhao Huar is worried that too many bandits will die because these bandits are all related to the fate of Chipai village in the future. Zhao Yanhuan looked at the lying bandits and said, "Let's tie up these bandits, pour water into their stomachs, and wash their stomachs." The people of Chipai village are no strangers to gastric lavage. Previously, Zhao Yanhuan used this trick to save a peasant woman who committed suicide by taking rat poison. Everyone immediately got busy, found ropes to tie up all the bandits, and then poured water and washed their stomachs one by one. The smell of vomit was everywhere for a moment. Everyone was smoked and vomited several times, and Zhao Yanhuan was pulled away by Zhao Huar and Zhao Yichang early on. Before leaving, Zhao Yanhuan pointed to Wang Datian and Wang Erdi and said, "You don't need to worry about these two. It doesn't matter whether you live or die. If ordinary bandits are evil spirits, then these two people are Yan Wang who devours people with evil spirits, committing countless sins." Zhao Yanhuan and Zhao Huar found an open place, lit a fire, and waited for the other side to finish their work while warming the fire. After much trouble at night, all the bandits had their stomachs washed, and the smelly Luan leopard came to find Zhao Yanhuan. "Village chief, those bandits have all had their stomachs washed, but 7 people still died." Zhao Yanhuan nodded nonchalantly. It was too normal for someone to die from alcohol poisoning. It's okay to die a few times, there are enough remaining bandits to use. Gather people and search for any warehouses in this village. Speaking of this, Luan Bao immediately said, "This doesn't need anyone else, I've already figured it out. There is a large cave behind this village, but the entrance is very small. I guess it's very likely that it's where Wang Datian and Wang Erdi hide their treasures." Zhao Yanhuan immediately said, "Take me to take a look." Luan Bao immediately led the way, with Zhao Yanhuan and Zhao Huar following behind, making 7 turns and 8 turns, leaving the village and quickly arriving at a mountain wall. The mountain wall is covered with a layer of white snow, and there doesn't seem to be anything suspicious. But Luan Leopard groped in a snowy area and reached out to pull up a rope. Then he pulled hard, and a manually constructed wooden door was pulled open, revealing a black hole. Luan Bao lit a torch that had been prepared long ago and entered the cave first, followed by Zhao Yanhuan and Zhao Huar. At first, the cave was a bit narrow, but as I walked, I took a turn and suddenly opened up ahead. This cave is like a curved gourd, with a narrow bottle mouth and corners, but inside it is very spacious. In this spacious cave, rows of shelves are built, filled with sealed boxes and piles of grain bags. In one corner of the cave, there is also a large row of dried meat, including dried chicken and dried duck meat. Zhao Huar was a bit surprised and said, "This big cave is so full that it's almost too full. The bandits are really fat." Zhao Yanhuan casually crushed the lock of a box and opened it, revealing rows of cloth inside. Although not the best fabric, the tentacles are soft, making clothes absolutely comfortable. Zhao Yanhuan opened the other boxes one by one. She was born with divine power, and crushing the lock was an easy task. Although there are many treasures in this bandit's possession, there are not many valuable items, mostly cloth and some cheap jewelry. The silver reluctantly gathered 2 boxes, which could hold 4 or 5,000 taels. Zhao Yanhuan looked around and said to Luan Bao, "Remember the way out of the mountain, go back to the village, and call some people to move the things inside back to our 7 Rose village. I can give everyone an average score. With these things, you don't have to worry about redeeming corvée and paying taxes for at least 2 years." The reason why people in Chipai village respect Zhao Yanhuan so much, such as being obedient and loyal under the command of their arms, is because Zhao Yanhuan is generous and willing to share benefits with everyone. Luan Bao responded and went down the mountain back to Chipai village to find someone. Zhao Yanhuan, on the other hand, was the organizer who searched the entire Tiger Leaping village and retrieved all valuable items. Zhao Yanhuan had no intention of taking the clothes and bedding worn by the bandits. The bandits are not particular about their lives. They are all covered in fleas and lice, which are not found in the people of Chipai village. However, Zhao Yanhuan had no intention of throwing it away and brought it back to the refugees who had nothing to offer. "I'm sure they wouldn't mind spending some time boiling water to heat these bedding and kill fleas and lice. Thank you for the starting point coin that comes with a clean heart, and thank you for your encouragement." End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Women and Heroes 10. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Women and Heroes 10. One who was very fast, and not long after returning, he brought back many people. A group of people were moving things out with all their hands and feet. The bandits on the other side were tied together, most of whom had already come to their senses and were cursing wildly when they saw this scene. Unfortunately, no one paid attention to them. The bandits have been captured, and Zhao Yanhuan left someone to guard him. He directly returned to Chipai village. Calculating the time, the people who served in corvée should return. Sure enough, when Zhao Yanhuan returned to Chipai village, he saw his mother Li Qing waiting at the wall. Seeing Zhao Yanhuan, Li Qing breathed a sigh of relief and said to her, "The people who served in the corvée have already escaped back, they are in the 7th village." Zhao Yanhuan nodded and said, "As long as the person comes back, it's good. The next step is to deal with the county magistrate." "That's easy." Although Zhao Yanhuan has a lot of land in his hands, there are too many refugees who come to seek refuge, and relying solely on Zhao Yanhuan's apparent land is not enough to arrange. So Zhao Yanhuan found several valleys in the mountains where he could cultivate land, and established 7 mountain villages from number 1 to number 7 to arrange for refugees. As for the escape from corvée, there was also a reason behind it. Originally, Chipai village had always spent money to redeem corvée. But this year, the emperor was in a hurry to cultivate the palace and conscripted 3 waves of corvée within a year. The first 2 times, people were asked to redeem corvée, but the 3rd time, people were not allowed to spend money to redeem corvée. The emperor was wealthy and did not value this amount of money. Moreover, in order for those who perform corvée to arrive in a timely manner, several strict criminal laws have been added to punish the people who do not perform corvée, which are basically capital offenses. Even officials responsible for distributing corvée will be punished for not being able to do so, and this punishment is very severe. The court issued corvée labor, paid for their own transportation expenses, and provided for their own food. Just traveling alone was enough for many people to go bankrupt. When they arrived at the place to perform corvée, 10 people went to 5 people to return, and the dead piled up mountains and filled the sea. But for the emperor, these dead people are even worse than ants. Sometimes Zhao Yanhuan had to admire that the people's patience was really too strong. Even if they didn't rebel, it really spoiled the emperor. The people who escaped the corvée have returned, and Zhao Yanhuan hasn't even rested for a while. He urgently went to number 7 village to appease these people. Although before departure, Zhao Yanhuan had already made various preparations, brought food and clothes, and told them how to escape corvée. The small officials escorting the Corps AE were all Zhao Yanhuan's people, and their families had arranged early to escape with the Corps AE servants. Everything is orderly, but it is inevitable that the spirit will be tense along the way. Her departure will help these people stabilize their minds. Going up from the mountain at the foot of Chipai village and crossing 2 mountains, you will find a spacious valley, which is known as Number 7 Village. It was snowing heavily in winter, and it was not easy to climb these 2 mountains, so Zhao Yanhuan only took Luanhu with him. There are thousands of people living in the 7th village. In order to ensure food supply, Zhao Yanhuan ordered people to cultivate the mountains on both sides into terraced fields. When Zhao Yanhuan and Luanhu arrived at the place, they saw people who had escaped from Corps AE waiting at the entrance of the valley, gathering together to heat the fire. Seeing Zhao Yanhuan, these people cheered as the BPUP came over. "It's the village chief has come to see us. The village chief has indeed arrived. Village chief, we are back. Village chief, village chief." The big guy happily surrounded Zhao Yanhuan and pushed Luanhu aside. A group of people were chattering, but there were too many people talking. Zhao Yanhuan didn't hear anything clearly and was dizzy and overwhelmed by the noise. Zhao Yanhuan quickly reached out and pressed down. The villagers were accustomed to her gesture and immediately stopped talking. It was easy to quiet down before Zhao Yanhuan spoke up and asked, "Why are you all gathered here in such a cold weather?" One of the villagers immediately said, "It was Yan Dianshi who sent us here. He said if you knew we were back, you would definitely come and see us immediately." Another villager foolishly touched his head and said, "Actually, it's because we're in a panic. We always want to see the village chief and it's not quiet. Yan Dianshi told us to wait for you here." Yan Dianshi, whose real name is Yan Hua, is a county government official and a talent that Zhao Yanhuan has been thinking of for several years. Yan Hua has been a county magistrate for 7 years. The previous county magistrate was a waste, so he is responsible for handling the entire county government affairs. At that time, Nyolu County was very stable, and the people's lives were also easy. However, when the county magistrate retired, the county magistrate from a noble family, Gai Xiong, arrived. Yan Hua, who had once oversaw the power of the county government, became a thorn in Gai Xiong's side and was marginalized. Otherwise, it wouldn't be his turn to escort the Corps AE people with a grand historical record. When Gai Xiong marginalized Yan Hua, Zhao Yanhuan kept showing kindness to Yan Hua and throwing olive branches. Yan Hua also became Zhao Yanhuan's person a year ago. This time, it was also because Yan Hua was with Zhao Yanhuan that he dared so boldly to let everyone escape. Yan Hua also fulfilled his expectations and completed the task very well. He first used his network to become the person responsible for managing the 7 Rose village to serve the villagers. Afterwards, he fled with the villagers, avoided various officers and soldiers, safely returned to Chipai village, and entered Number 7 village to hide. Everything went very smoothly. Although these Corps AE laborers have escaped, their mood is very tense, mainly because they are worried that the government will cause trouble after returning. You should know that escaping Corps AE not only brings punishment to oneself, but also to the entire family, which is equivalent to years of Corps AE service. At this moment, they urgently need to see Zhao Yanhuan, the village chief. Zhao Yanhuan also knew what they were worried about and comforted them directly, "Don't worry, stay here. I have already figured out a solution for the government's affairs. Don't worry too much. If you're not at ease, when things are sorted out and your family comes to see you, just let them know." With just a few simple words, these anxious people were calmed down. Zhao Yanhuan is their backbone, and they have become accustomed to nothing that cannot be solved as long as Zhao Yanhuan is present. When Zhao Yanhuan told them everything was okay, they believed it and calmed down. After pacifying these people, Zhao Yanhuan went to see Yan Hua. Yan Hua was not waiting at the entrance of the valley, but in the room. He looked a bit weak. Yan Hua is not tall in stature, with a calm face and temperament. When he looks over, he gives the impression of reliability. In fact, Yan Hua is indeed very reliable. When he saw Zhao Yanhuan, Yan Hua stood up and smiled, saying, Yan Hua has met the Lord, and this time he is fortunate enough to not disappoint. Yan Hua is a smart person and the only one who discovered Zhao Yanhuan's intentions. So he hesitated for a long time before, but after deciding to follow Zhao Yanhuan, he immediately straightened his mind, gave Zhao Yanhuan many ideas, and also helped Zhao Yanhuan deal with many things that others couldn't handle. Zhao Yanhuan quickly reached out to help Yan Hua, who was about to bow, and said, Mr. Yan, you've worked hard this time. Is there anything in your body that you can't bear? Yan Hua smiled and said, Thank you for your love, but I have nothing to do. My wife has already treated me before. End of this chapter.